And here we are once again, Thursday Live with Dan and Damon, coming to you coast to coast, East Coast, West Coast. True story. How are you doing, Damon?
Doing great. How's the weather out there? Typical 70 degrees.
Yeah, maybe it's about 70 degrees. I am looking out my garage, do not see a single cloud in the sky. Um, this is perfection. How about you?
Nice. You know what? Rain just moved in. It's only gonna last maybe another hour or so. That's the beautiful thing about being out here. When you do have rain, normally it's not the entire day, it's just for a segment. In the Midwest, if you have rain for, scheduled for that day, it is like for that day, you know. And they just got hit by a blizzard yesterday.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, one way to welcome in spring, huh? 6 inches of snow.
No, did the groundhog see? He saw his shadow, so that was already predicted, correct?
He's a liar. He's just a thief and a liar either way.
So those guys
Damn
had
the
to
groundhog.
they had to dig out of snow and it'll be melted. But I suppose that kind of jacked up business a little bit for this week, maybe. But next week should be really good.
Yeah, I mean, next week they're pretty much packed at the shop, and then they got appointments going into the next week and the next week after that. But yeah, it in the Midwest, there's never a perfect time to ever get your vehicle detailed, just because everything is so unpredictable. I remember when I would talk to clients, and like, oh, I'm afraid, to get it done, and then it's going to get dirty. And I just look at them and said, there's never a good day to do this. There's never a perfect season to have your vehicle detailed in the Midwest. But what we can do is promise you that we will give you a free car wash, the following week or week after that. Uh, and you do what you can to keep people on the schedule. And that has, and there's two schools of thought. You have some people who think, oh, you're just saying that because you're greedy. No, it's not that I'm greedy. I want to be able to pay the guys in back. That's the whole idea, keeping the appointments so that you keep your employees paid. Because, you know, keeping a customer happy, and we're going to be talking about that, right? Keeping the customer happy is one thing, but when you have happy employees, that's a whole different story. That creates if you have happy employees, that is an efficiency dynamic right there. Makes a huge difference. So when you do have those people that do move their appointments just because it's going to get wet or whatever, it affects the guys in back.
Yeah,
You can't, if you don't have work, you can't keep your guys there.
and one of the with what we do, cleaning people's cars, it's guaranteed to get dirty again. So maybe you don't want to drive it out into the snowstorm or the rainstorm immediately, so you can, savor what you just spent your money on. But you got to also think of it as doing the protection that's protecting that paint, so it's not a complete waste of time. And again, that's the beauty of what we do. It's always going to get dirty again, so it's going to be there for us to clean again. What I did
It's
notice
going to be,
when
go
I
ahead.
did boats back when I had my detailing business, those were really cool because they were all sitting in the Pacific Ocean and, the owner was never there. Even if it was raining, I could go out there and do a boat and, it was good to go because they weren't so in front of it like they were their cars.
Mhm.
So anybody who wants to add on boats to what they're doing, eh, that is a pretty cool thing to do when it rains.
Yeah, and the other thing that we point out is if we do perform a service, if we do an exterior detail or any type of detail or a ceramic coating, and it goes out and it's snowing or whatever, it is going to be so much easier just to go ahead and wash it afterwards. Much easier.
And you are absolutely correct. When you're just like the products and the tools that you're using in your business, your employees are absolutely that. And when they start being let down, then morale crumbles and it can be contagious and toxic. It's you know a, a bad spiral. So keeping those employees happy Super important. What do you guys do with your detail shop side when you do incur that? Like, so you have a day when a whole bunch of work gets canceled, but you have the employees. Sometimes they might be okay to just go home and be like, ah, I get half a day, but they might need to get paid and they might need to pay their bills and such. What do you guys do on those days?
We do our best to try to supplement those with, shooting content, um, cleaning the shop, restocking, resupplying. Those are the things that you try to make it, you make that time, even though it's downtime, you make it valuable time. And it might even be that opportunity for one of the employees to say, I think we can do this different. And, you know, maybe I'll give this a try. There could be something like, honestly, today was a little bit of a slow day. And I had posted in our installer group taking the micro scrubber because I didn't have any wet sandpaper, but taking a micro scrubber with an OP compound to a headlight that was nearly 20 years old. And that's what I used to clean it. And then I did a polish and then I sealed it with OP Pro. You know, those guys had never tried it before. Well, they did have a vehicle there that had terrible headlights. It was one of their own vehicles. They brought it in. They got to use it. It became a training session. Really, is what it became. And also to see how efficient it was and how well that technique worked. And honestly, they were able to do a headlight in about 2 minutes by doing it. I mean, very, very simple.
Is that one of those plastic things that has like bristles, little bristles on the front face
No,
side?
it's the yellow micro scrubbers. Oh, they got there's kind of squishy on top that like a mouse
Mm-hmm.
is what they look like, and they got a pointed end, and then it's a microfiber bottom to it.
Okay. Wow, that's pretty
So
cool.
that's well, you think about it, it's soft enough that when you are sanding with it, that it's staying on the very surface. It's not flat, but it's curving with it the entire time.
Hmm. And then the microfiber itself is strong enough to remove that oxidation.
Yeah. And plus, being OP compound being non-diminishing, you have lubrication there,
Okay.
along with the jagged particles that are working it down. So you're almost like liquid sanding it.
I literally thought that you just used that and maybe some water and we're rubbing that thing
No,
across. I no.
no, with the OP compound.
That makes so much more sense to me. Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, but I mean, again, a down day, so that they were able to go ahead and it becomes like a training session. Plus, it's a new technique, and throwing something new and it works and it makes things efficient. It they get excited about it.
Yeah. And that there is more to keeping those people happy because they got new stuff that they're trying and they're not just sitting there, stuck in a rut. So that's really good too.
Your employees, honestly, are your greatest asset.
All right. All right. So today we're going to talk about I love this subject so much, but the customer journey. And a lot of us, we think as we have a detailing business, if we just give them good service and we make their car look really shiny, that's going to be enough to, keep your customers coming back and returning. But that's only such a small part of the encompassing customer journey that literally starts from the time that they discover you, the interactions that happen in between them booking a job, the interactions that happen between booking the job and bringing the car in, what happens when they're in there, what happens afterwards. And I think a lot of us, we would be really wise to think of a store that you go to or a business that you do business with that treats you really well. I always to front of mind for me comes the Apple store. Like everything that they seem to do, whether you're going into the store and talking to one of the, what do they call them, the professionals or brains or whatever they call them,
Oh, I forget what the hell they call them.
to the customer service that you
Yeah.
get online. Even if your computer is 5 years old and you have a problem with it, you can call and they're going to help you. And that's absolutely incredible. So today what we're going to do is we're going to break down the customer journey, and this is just great for everybody out there. So again, think about yourself being in doing business with somebody where it's exceptional customer service all the way along. How did you get pulled into a business? And I think if we kind of just turn that focus on ourselves and think of what things that really resonate with us, it's going to go a long ways, because we get tunnel vision with our detailing business where we only see that car in front of us and polishing it. And again, there's just so much more to developing a lifelong customer. And to that point, lifelong customers. I was at Dustin's shop 2 weeks ago on a weekend, and we were doing a wash clinic, and a customer came in to drop off a car that was my customer like 18 years ago, and she's still a customer of Dustin. It was so cool. We hugged, and so it was really neat. But those are the customers that you want, that are going to be with you forever,
Hmm.
and they trust you, and you've gave them a great experience.
And they're also your greatest advocate for your business. That's the kind of marketing that is honestly only you can go ahead and provide. You can't buy that. The customer experience is really what entraps them and has them talking about you and telling everybody about you and your business.
And let's turn them into an advocate, and that is the holy grail. So today we're going to pull information not only from our own personal experience in customer service and customer journeys of how we did our business, but also from Joey Coleman, Never Lose a Customer Again, who I interviewed him last year. And this is just kind of, this is his realm, his specialty. He
Hmm.
was he was a lawyer in the Clinton administration, and he's just like really, in my opinion, one of my four horsemen of business authors that puts something really valuable out there.
Hmm.
So phase one: how the customers find you. So we got to kind of think about: are you visible? Are you engaging? Do you clearly communicate what you're offering? Are you, is your what's your website like? What are the people seeing of you to discover you? How are you being discovered? How are you presenting yourself?
Right. And I think too, that's the thing. A lot of when you look at a lot of detail businesses, when you look at their portfolio, like online or even social media, what do you see? Cars, 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 lots of cars. And I get that. We do the same thing, but we also do one other thing too. We put ourselves out there. And you and I have both talked about it. We've talked about this to our installers too. That when they put themselves into those pictures, they put themselves into those videos, their customers are more engaged into them because you're a person, you're not a car. There's a lot of cars, there's only one you. And so that captures their attention. So yeah, you got to put yourself out there. You got to be the face of your business.
People do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And this is one of the things when I'm working with these guys, that you're absolutely correct. So many times they're just putting the picture of the car, and I'm like, they're going to do business with you. You are who they want to know. And like, if you look at Dustin's website, he's got a picture of his family on there. What's that
Hmm.
convey? That conveys that he is a family man. He's got a wife and two kids, and it kind of pulls them into the story of Dustin when they go to his website and look at him.
Yeah, absolutely correct. And they're seeing more than just a car. They're seeing the person that is going to be working on their car. They're seeing the person that they're talking to on the phone. It gives them a reference point, right? Rather than guessing, they can visualize actually doing business with you before they even do it.
And so, are you clearly communicating what makes you different in these? Because it, and that is clearly communicating what makes you different when you put your face on there, when you are on a video and you're talking, when you are communicating with your customer and there's your face in that email or even in a text message.
Yeah, correct. And I think too, when we talk about communicating with the customer, um, keeping things simple is the best way to do it when you communicate with a customer. Um, don't go and expound into the science of ceramic coatings. Once in a while, you do have those customers. I mean, don't get me wrong, you do have those, and they like to geek out, on the technology. But most people, their attention span is very short, and that's why TikTok's so popular, right? You got about 30 seconds. It's no different than when you're talking to somebody. They might be talking to you while they're at work when they're trying to make an appointment. So you want to make it quick, factual, and informative. And that's really the gist of it.
All right, so you have to have a website, you have to have Google presence. Google, because that's what people are going to be searching on overwhelmingly. And your website is a representation of you and your business. I mean, think if you're going to try to do buy something and you're spending $1,500, $2,000, $5,000 if you're getting paint protection film and ceramic coating, and you go to a really janky, like generic, icky website, that's probably not going to give you a whole super duper bunch of faith in where you're spending your money. Um, Having it so it's clear and easy to navigate. One of the things that I see maybe as a mistake that a lot of guys make is on that main first landing page of your website. It's really good if you have something about ceramic coating or PPF or whatever your highest margin job is that you really want to sell, um, as well as thinking forward thinking, like look at the websites from the businesses who are doing really good in our space. I know like Chris DiGiovanni from Detailer's Roadmap, he does a ton of people's websites. um, and they're all kind of set similar, like people are going to scan from left to right, and you don't want to overload it with too much information and make it sloppy. You want to make everything really clear and concise, and basically like a funnel leading the customer through the journey to where they're going to get so they can purchase something, not making it overwhelmingly hard to get there. Where I think you could go on somebody's website, and if I have to click around more than 3 or 4 times to find something, and I might be being generous with how many times I'm saying, I'm done. I'm moving on to the next website. I'm not going to work for it. I want it to be easy.
Yeah, I mean, and there are tools out there that you can use as far as a heat map of where that the mouse has gone, right? Where the cursor has gone, where did it hover at, you know? And those are the hot buttons. Those are the areas you're like, okay, that's where I want them to know about this. That's where I want to promote this service, or that product. And it does take a little bit of researching. You do got to go in there and you got to take a look at it. But again, like what you're saying, I mean, the website itself should be a tool. It should be your employee. It should be there to help sell your service and your brand.
Yeah. And I mean, they do cost money to have made, but having one that is professional and is going to lead that customer through the journey of your website to get them so they can easily spend money, that's at the end of the day, that's what we're really trying to do, sell something.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it too, you want to, I'm a big proponent to have people book online. And I know it can be a headache, honestly, it can be, but you have to build the parameters in there so that you don't get overbooked or appointments don't overlap. And there are some great guys out there that, as far as when it comes to software to provide those things, like what you're saying, with Detailed Roadmap, you've got Road FS, Rod and Jody, those guys are great. And there's You're Able, and there's more out there too. I mean, that's just three out of the many right now, but they're geared to help you promote and sell your services.
And also, Google. So having
Hmm.
your Google My Business up and having reviews, that's probably, for a detailing business, one of the most important things. Think again, and a lot of things that we talk about here, we're going to say put yourself in that position. So think if you're going to buy something online. I mean, I don't care if I'm buying a chair or a lamp or a new polisher. I'm reading the reviews. So customers are kind of already geared up to read those reviews, and that social proof makes people feel more confident in doing business with you. So having your Google business up, getting reviews, posting on that thing all the time so you're coming up in the algorithms and you look professional. One mistake that I see a lot of guys making, you want to be selling your premium services more so. Maybe you don't want to do minivans that are just tore up on the inside from kids. Well, if that's all you have pictures of up there, then that's really what the customers are going to see and want to go for. So thinking you bring in what you put out, I think is the
Mhm.
simple way to say it.
Yeah, and right, and reviews are so important too. But like what you're saying, your Google business page needs to be just like your social media. You need to update it. You need to put pictures out there. You need to put pictures of you there too, because I mean, they're Googling your company, they're Googling your service. They want to know again who's going to be working on their vehicle. It just builds confidence. And don't be afraid to ask for reviews. I Especially in the beginning when we were just starting out, I kind of did it this way. Please leave us a Google review. If it wasn't a 5 star, please let us know how we can make it a 5 star. You know, that was the thing. I was always trying to cover my butt, in case they're thinking, I'll give them a 3. Oh, nobody's perfect, so I'm gonna give them a 4, those kind of things. And but to let them know that if there was something that didn't seem right, that you could let us know and we were going to take care of it. So the shop in Omaha, they have 260 Google reviews. And out of the 260, 250 are 5 stars. The rest are fours, threes. There's a couple ones in there, and one of the ones wasn't even a customer. It was just somebody who probably was on a bender, and we were the wrong Google search, and we got a 1 star from that awesome individual.
It actually, for your social proof, not having 100% 5 stars is
Hmm.
psychologically probably even better. Um, Not that it really seems like it's better, but it makes it more realistic. If you have 250, 60 5 star reviews, maybe somebody thinks that that's fake or a bot because we are humans,
Hmm.
and so that's probably better.
Yeah, and
And
I always say people are going to look at the bad reviews because they want to see how what not necessarily what the problem was, but how did you attempt to fix it? Did you
yes,
say anything to that customer? And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm glad we don't have 265 stars. I'm glad that we have 250 and we have, 10 that aren't. And that does show that we are real and that our reviews, the other ones, are going to be real also. So even if you had those customers that are real reviews didn't give you a 5 star, great. Then they know that the ones who did give you the 5 star are not bots.
I want to touch back real quick on the ability for people to order their services online for a detailing business. Do you guys have a system set up on your website where people can kind of build packages and like put things in and take them out and build them? And that's just
No, we have
okay.
we have preset packages so that we know what happens is you create a block of time, right? Um, and so we know that whatever service they get, there's that much block of time that's taken up. I know what you're saying. I think you can with certain people's software, but it's just those blocks of time all have to be added up.
Okay, so I sat down with Marcus Sheridan a couple weeks ago, and one of his new things that he has a new book coming out called Endless Customers, but he also came out with a software piece that I think it's like $99, and there's a 2 week free trial. So of course I'm gonna make Dustin try it because that's my guinea pig to do anything that I see. But
Right.
so you know how you can kind of gamify it, and this really falls right into the customer journey. So it think of like if you go to a website and you want to design a room, maybe, right? And you can like put different furniture in there and move it around and you can see it. Well, that kind of pulls you into the website and kind of holds you in there and it makes it fun, right? So you're like building it. He's got a software that you can plug into your website, and you have to do some of the background building of it for your services specifically. But you can take your car, put your car here, then you can like do different things to it. So you could put a PPF on the front quarter, clip, or you can do ceramic coating. You can add the wheels, you can add the glass, and it kind of like builds the package for you. So it almost kind
Hmm.
of makes it like you're gamified and you're buying into it, and you get there, and then you can just move forward and book that job. Super interested to see somebody try this. If anybody's interested, I can get the link. I can put it into the show notes or the into this, and I would like to see a couple people try it. There's a 2 week free trial, and I think it sounds really cool.
Yeah, I think that the part to me that becomes intriguing about it, that I think is a benefit, isn't just them building the package. You get to find out what is important to the customer.
Ooh.
If it wasn't important to the customer, they wouldn't put it into the build, you know. Um, yeah, if you have the right graphics and you make it kind of fun too, I mean, I could see where it'd be a valuable tool.
Yeah.
So Dustin is going to have that on his website.
Yeah, I've told him about it, and he doesn't know that it's gonna get implemented yet exactly. But yeah, we're gonna get that on there
Okay,
so
when
we
it
can
does, let
do
me
a
know.
trial. I'm excited.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be neat.
absolutely.
And again, this is part of the customer journey. Now you go to everybody else's website, and all of a sudden you're on this website, and you're getting to like move things around and build something. You're staying on that website for longer, and sounds cool. Sounds cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, then your ads and your marketing, are you targeting these? One of the things I see too, and I think you mentioned something about this earlier, the ads that you're putting out there, like you gotta really think who your customer is. If you know, and I think this, I could be wrong, but I think this is probably pretty true. Somebody who's going to get a ceramic coating and a paint protection film, which is our premium services that we're selling at Owner's Pride, for our guys to sell through their detail shops, is probably not going to be a 21-year-old guy, you know. So
Mhm.
be conscious of like where your customers are and meet them there. If they like classical music or country music, well, for goodness sakes, go to them. Make that ad to them. Make it speak to them. If it's like some hardcore rap where they're cussing, that might not be some 60-year-old guy who has the money to get your service. You might be missing the ball, the missing all the way. Yeah.
Well, and I think that the biggest thing is know your demographic, right? Our demographic, like especially when we do online marketing, um, you know, you're right. We don't really get an interest in the shop until just about 23, 24. Um, and then after about 62, that's it. Um, and then majority is going to be men, you know. We get out of everybody who looks at our Facebook ads, 27%, maybe close to hitting 30, women. Now, I will say though, um, the women buyers are typically going to pull the trigger and make the appointment faster than the guys. I think they're a little bit they really do their homework. They don't go and ask all their girlfriends, well, what do you think of this? What product? What about this product? What about that product? They don't. They search and they look online and they're very savvy about it. Whereas with us guys, hey, did you try that new ceramic sealant? What did you think about it? I mean, we're gonna ask around, and then we make the process longer than what it needs to be. So I wish we had more than 30% of females who are watching our ads. But I'm glad for the ones that we do have because those buyers will pull the trigger quicker than the men.
And that makes it just the female part kind of gets me excited. Not because they're females, but to get to the part of the customer journey where Catherine came into your store and all that she had to say about it. And so, okay, so let's keep firing along here. So the action step that we have an actionable item for everything that we're doing here. Google My Business, see what your first-time customer sees. Does it inspire trust? Does it convert a sale? Look at your own stuff. All right, phase two, the sales process. What happens when the customer first reaches out? Are you answering inquiries fast? We were just literally talking about this today with the leads that are
Hmm.
coming in for us. We got to get on those leads. And if you have somebody who's searching for a ceramic coating for their car, they're probably going to call you, and then they're going to call another shop, and they're going to call another shop, and they're going to call another shop. So this sale specifically is really important that you get right back to them because they're looking for information and they're looking to spend their money. Um,
Correct. And you got to answer the phone though. That's the one thing I do see in our industry is full voicemails not set up, and then not answering the phone. You know, I get it. If you're running a polisher, you're doing everything that, you're trying to do it all. If you're trying to scale the business and feed the machine so that you can go ahead and hire an employee, you got to take the calls, you got to start scheduling, and you got to start scheduling out so that you can feed the machine and bring on somebody else.
then you have to also lead the conversation when they call you. And how do you lead the conversation? By asking open ended questions. You don't want to lead the conversation by running your mouth too much. You want to find out what the customer's problem is and then offer a solution to it. Um, so that's really important. One of we as detailers, we have a really bad habit of talking too much. Talking like you were saying earlier, kind of diving too deep into the weeds. Find out what the customer's problem is. Nobody wants to spend $1,000 plus just to spend $1,000 plus for the heck of it. They're doing it to solve some kind of a problem. You need to find out what that problem is, and once you find that, you lock onto it like a pit bull on a rope toy, and that's solid, solid.
Yeah, correct. I mean, you want to go ahead and ask the questions, right? Because they're wanting to tell you why they have either A, called you, or B, have chosen you for the service. They want to tell you why. They want to tell you what the problem is. We don't, as people, we don't go to the doctor's office, right, and not tell them what's wrong. You know, the doctor wants to hear what is wrong, you know. So give them a chance to talk, and you're right. Open-end questions are the best way to find out what exactly is the customer looking for. That way, everybody knows. Everybody's on the same wavelength. Everybody knows what they're doing, why they're doing it.
And then, is it easy for them to book the job? Whether they're doing it online, like on your site, they can go right on there and book. Um, that's why it's really important to have your prices up there too. If you're all mysterious about it, think of when you go to a restaurant. If I go in a restaurant and there are no prices, maybe if it's an anniversary or something, I'm like, okay, we'll do this. But I want to know how much it's going to be before I go in there, and I'm in shell shock from my bill, which I feel like I am every time I go out. It doesn't matter where you go anymore.
Yeah, open-ended pricing is just, and I understand it. I mean, a lot of detailers want to go ahead and examine the vehicle and determine exactly what it's going to be. They want to bid it, and the truth is, we're not doing body work. Normally by the time you ask, some questions like how long have you had the vehicle, what's the mileage of the vehicle, what's the color of the vehicle, do you use brush car washes, those kind of things, you should have a really, really good idea of what it's going to be and have an idea, okay, this is going to take me long. This one might take me longer, and average out that time and the cost. And I do think that customers really do want to know what the price is going to be. Plus, if the price scares them away and they don't want to come to the shop, you save yourself a lot of time.
Yeah, prices everywhere, super important. At least it qualifies the customer before they get to you. So
Yeah,
for an actionable item for this, mystery shop your own store. Have
correct.
have a friend do it. You know, have some see what that experience is like. Would you be impressed? Phase number 3, the waiting period. I think that this is the time between when you get a job booked and when that appointment is. And I think that this is a critical step that probably almost everybody is missing. So not only sending them a reminder, that's a great idea. I mean, send them something the day before, just like your dentist does, and reminder
Hmm.
for your appointment, and that's fine and dandy. But after somebody commits to something, they might go through some buyer's remorse. So if we can keep giving them information, like in short emails, and feeding them information, what maybe they've never had their car detailed before. What if you told them what they
Hmm.
can expect when they come in to drop off the car, what that experience is going to be like? What if you sent them further information that just built excitement about how great the product that you're selling them is and what it's going to do for them? I'm a huge proponent of using video in text. So hold your phone in front of you and just say, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, we're looking forward to you coming in with your Corvette next week." And you're just continuing to build the excitement and don't leave them hanging because that they might have buyer's remorse even before they've even fully bought the thing, or they might want to start go shopping somewhere else because they haven't spent that money and maybe they're doubting their decision. But if you're constantly, well, not constantly, but you know what I'm saying, if you're touching
Yeah.
base with them and staying on their shoulder, um, it's building excitement and soothing that fear that they might have of making a wrong decision.
Yeah. If it's a week out or something like that, you do. You want to send them reminders, you want to send them an email. The video text, yep, absolutely. I've seen it myself that it does make a difference. And what's funny is I've sent a video text and the customers have sent me a video text back, which I really didn't expect, but they do it. It's kind of funny. But I will say too, the other thing besides, you know, building up the anticipation of the service, get a deposit.
Yeah.
Get a deposit. Um, I understand the whole buyer's remorse. I get that, but you want to be able to get some type of commitment so that you can go ahead and take care of the guys in back who are going to be doing the work. If you have something on the schedule, you have something for them to work on, you want to make sure that you get it in there, you know, the best way you can to me is by getting a deposit. It doesn't have to be a large deposit either. Just as long as there's some money that's been passed. It could be 10%, it could be 15, you know. Maybe some guys are taking larger ones, but just as long as the money is passed, the process has begun. That's kind of how I look at it. The train has left the station, and it's very hard to get it to go back.
Yeah, and check, and also check with your local laws of what you can do. I believe in California you can only ask for 10% of a total job.
Is
I
that what it
know,
is?
yeah, I know that from the contractors that have done work for me at my house. Legally, they can't ask for more than that. So
Gotcha.
make sure
I
you're
mean, that makes
following whatever
sense.
your local rules are.
Yeah. But it starts that process right away.
So here's the actionable item for number three. If you're not sending anything to them, if you're not communicating with your customer between the time that they book and between the time that appointment is, let's start adding something in there. Add at least one touch point moving forward. Phase four, the arrival experience. This is the one I was kind of excited to get to when I was in Omaha a couple of years ago, and you had that customer Catherine that was in there, who
Yeah.
she's the marketing
Great.
lady and an author,
Yeah.
and I ended up doing an interview with her, and what wasn't conveyed during the time when I met her and she was getting her car and all of that, but she did allude to afterwards was how darn clean it was and how she thought in her head she was going to a detail shop. I think she was thinking it was going to be like, Earl the Greasy Mechanic or something. Because she was
Hmm.
just like, the bathroom was so nice, it was so clean in there, and it was nothing like what she expected. So, what the first thing that happens is they're going to pull up to your shop. What does it look like? What's it look like in the parking lot? What's your check-in process? And these are all part of the customer journey that we just take for granted because we're so focused on polishing that car.
If I can point out one thing that I think is a huge problem that we didn't have. 5 years ago that we have today when it comes to getting that first impression. Because that's what we're talking about, right? First impression. And you only get one of those. There's enough vaping that goes on in shops now that when people walk in, they don't need to smell weed. They don't need to smell somebody else's vape. They need to smell a clean shop. And as the laws have loosened up, and it's become more acceptable, it it has gotten loose, you know. I don't, I'm not saying that's our shop, definitely not. Um, but I have been to a couple and it's like I let them know, hey, the first thing I smelled when I came in here, I could smell weed, you know, and they don't even know it because they can't smell it anymore, you know. But I mean, right away, it's like, dude, it's a red flag, you know, and I know exactly what it is, but it's gotta, you can't have that. It's not going to do your business any good. It's not going to help you grow your business. No pun intended.
You know, from somebody who's been to rehab twice, just keep those things separate. You know, your business is your business. Do that clear and sober. When you're done with your responsibilities, if you want to have drinks, if you want to, you know, have some pot or whatever your thing is that's, you know, legal to where you're doing it, that's your business. But your business is your business. Somebody's draining
Yeah.
you a cars average $50,000 plus now. People's car payments are $1,000 a month. I'm not taking my car to somebody who's, you know, if it looks shitty and they're on drugs in there. No.
It really does. And even cigarette smoke. I mean, it gives them a pause. It gives them a second. They're second guessing their decision, right? Because I mean, at that point, they can still turn around. You haven't taken possession of the vehicle. You haven't begun the service. But normally, when somebody, you know, you smell that and you walk in there, the first thing, I don't want that person in my car. I don't want them cleaning my car. I don't want my car to smell like this. It should be, again, scent is a huge, huge part of who we are. You know, when we walk into a room and we smell something like for me, my Aunt Irene, she smelled like roses. Every time you went into her house, it always smelled like roses. I smell roses, I think of her, right? Or, you know, you smell turkey, like you think of Thanksgiving. You know, certain things you just they take you back. It's a very, very a powerful scent that triggers memories and emotions. So make it neutral. Think about it, you know. Don't just think about how your shop looks. How does it smell?
Yeah. And if
And you
it's
want to keep the
decon,
deconnex all over there. Just
that's
keep it on the other
exactly where
side.
I was going. And the deconnex, you might have to explain that one away a little bit.
Any iron remover is going to stink, and that's exactly what I would do if an iron remover was used, if Decon X was used in the shop, and a customer came in. Because for anybody who doesn't know, an iron remover is going to have a very sulfur smell to it, almost like bad eggs. You know, it's not a pleasant smell. It does an incredible job, but it does not have a pleasant smell.
So funny.
So that yeah, exactly. No, I'm glad you brought that up.
It was funny that we said it at the same time, not and that was
Oh, I knew exactly where you're going.
okay. So your action step or actionable item for this, walk outside your store, enter it like you're a customer and note the first 3 things that stand out and the things that that you see that could improve or be fixed. Again, think of that Apple store experience. Like I I feel like a baller when I walk in there. It's just so beautiful. Or like a Cartier store. Like this is a higher end luxury item that we're selling, and you want to make that experience in the feel of when they're coming in there, not like they're going to Greasy Joe's, but they're coming into an auto boutique or spa. Okay,
Yeah.
phase number 5, during the detail. So one of the things that I push guys to do a lot is I'll pull the example from when we go on vacation. We have to have, because we have 3 dogs and they're all rescue dogs, so we're not going to take them somewhere and get them boarded. So we pay somebody from rover.com to come over here and stay at our house. And while we're on our vacation, they'll send us pictures of the dogs during the day, just at random times. What does that do? That makes us feel like everything is a-okay. We've got nothing to worry about. So again, we look at these people's cars. Why? And Ricky just did this last week, and he messaged and he was like, "This was so great." So he pulled the car out. It was like just got done getting polished, and he pulled it out into the sun and took a little video of the car and sent it to the customer just to kind of build anticipation. And that was all that that customer could talk about once they came in to pick up the car. So it worked out really, really well. I think this is a huge, huge thing. You know, you're building the excitement for it. They're spending their money. They're wondering what you're doing to their car. If you can show them a little bit of the process along the way, you're making it personal because you're sending a little video to them. Super, super solid. It's keeping the customer engaged when your car is being worked on, um, and it's not hard to do. This is not a hard step to do.
It's super simple. You've already got their number. They already, I mean, unless you know they're at work or whatever and they're difficult to get a hold of, understandable. But no, it's the second biggest purchase they make to a home, and you have their vehicle. You have that transportation that gets them wherever they need to whatever soccer game to take the kids to go do whatever they have to do. And that I think is just it's a nice little touch, that goes a long ways.
Yep. Again, put yourself into the customer's shoes when you're thinking about these things. So your actionable item here, send one test update. Just do it. One car that you guys are working on. Do what we're saying here and give it a shot. See what happens. I think it's going to work out fan freaking tastic. Next, we have the delivery experience, phase number 6. We've talked about this one before, and I always bring up the same example. When I bought this Mercedes and I went into the dealership, like I've never had a car like that before or an experience like that. But after you go in and you sign all your paperwork, you go out for the delivery experience. And they have a great big red bow on the windshield of the car and they take pictures of you with it. Man, I felt like I was the coolest person in the world. Coolest person. So, how are we making that customer feel when they pick up the car? Dustin told me when he used to work at BMW, when they would deliver the cars, they would have like a black sheet thing draped over the car, and they would pull it off to reveal the car. Or what if you had a little red carpet rolled out for them, and you're just, these things are not that hard. Maybe take some pictures of them because now they see the car, they have that excitement, or if they're cool with it, make a little video of them. I can think of no better customer testimonial than a video of somebody's pure happiness and joy and excitement picking up their car, telling you it looks better than the day that they bought it for a customer testimonial video.
You know who does the red carpet thing? Patrick Goulet. He's got red carpets already set up. I mean, he does an excellent job when it comes to delivery. Um, and not that Patrick needs to, he does it just for that wow factor, right? For us, it's a personal walkthrough. We walk alongside them and we began to talk about their vehicle, what was done. The other thing we'll do is normally with every vehicle that we do, as far as a ceramic coating and we've done paint correction, we have done a half and half. So they can see exactly what the paint looked like, right? And then what we brought it to. And because it's difficult, right? I mean, when they see that vehicle, when they dropped it off, they see it as a whole. They see it, yeah, it's a little dull. They don't see the scratches. But when you're able to isolate that and do a half, um, that gives them an idea of, wow, this was worth it. This service made a huge difference on my vehicle. And I think that's exactly what you're looking for. You're looking to make sure that they understand that they have something that was transformed.
Some of the guys might do something like if you know that customer likes a certain coffee drink, or if you have a really good customer, what if they get in that car and you got a little Starbucks in there for them? Or I mean, and you can even build these into the pricing strategy that you're doing, so they're actually paying for it themselves. But you might, if you know that customer, just think of these little tiny things that you can do that are going to just make them, it's going to hit the dopamine button in their brain and squirt it out, and they're going to be happy. They're going to tell people about you. If you can make that video of them or even the picture, there's a pretty good chance that they're going to share that on social media too, which means all of their friends are going to see how happy they were with your work, and that's turning them into an advocate, and you're kind of making it happen.
Mhm.
All right.
No, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that relationship where that customer wants it repeated, right? Or they really talk about it. And it's correct. They are to be your best source of marketing, your biggest advocates.
And here, one little tiny other piece. What if you put a little thank you card in there? So when they get into the car, it's just like in the cup holder or something. There's a little card, and it's signed by you. And nobody really is doing real, actual cards hardly anymore. Think of it was just my birthday. My mom and my stepmom sent me a birthday card.
Hmm.
And that's because they've been doing it for 50 some years. But nobody else
Yeah.
does. Like, it's not a thing anymore. You don't even get cards. So taking just a minute to put a little tiny card and say thank you for your business, and huge. These are just little tiny things, again, that are going to make you stand out so much. They don't cost much money to do, and you can even build it into the price, so they cost you really nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. We have phase 7, the aftercare and the follow up. So the sale that isn't over after the delivery. I was talking to a guy in South Dakota yesterday who's inquiring to become an installer, and he literally told me he wants to only ceramic coat cars, and he never wants to see that customer again. And I was just like, that just doesn't make any darn sense to me. Especially if you're trying to build your business and sell it. If you have a constant
Hmm.
book of business with repeat customers, you have a lot more to sell at the end of the day than one and done. I mean, for goodness sake. So I think you do, in my opinion, my bread and butter was my maintenance customers. It kept me on the road all the time. I never had days where I was completely skunked. I always had a wash or two every day, which got me out. People would see me, and it just kept the business churning. So what things can we do afterwards to keep this customer happy and on the same page with you? One of them, shoot them a text. Again, put your face on the video. They've already done business with you. Hey, Mr. Jones, just checking in to see how that car is treating you. It's just my eyes still hurt from all the gloss that was. I hope that you're doing okay and you're wearing proper sunglasses when you look at it. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's just me. I like to throw some humor in there. Um, Maybe you have your email nurture campaign, which, every business should have that as a regular thing. And you don't necessarily have to be trying to sell somebody something with every single email, because we're trying to build trust and nurture the customer to want to engage with us and stay a forefront in their mind. Most of the detailers, after we do a ceramic coating, we bring them back in for a wash afterwards, correct?
Correct. I mean, what we do is we call it an inspection wash. And so we have it to where they come back, a week, or they have up to, I think, 21, maybe 30 days to bring it back. And we schedule that wash. We do perform the mate or, the inspection wash on it. But it's an opportunity to talk to the customer and let them ask you some questions, right? I mean, it might have taken everything that they had to move their schedule to drop that vehicle off, and then they had to move heaven and earth to come pick it up by 5 o'clock, right? So when you're explaining maintenance to them at that moment, it's gone, right? But if you schedule a time for an inspection wash, because they'll want to bring it back, they've spent money on this, they want to make sure everything looks good. This is the opportunity now to go ahead and answer some of those questions because they've had time to think about it, right? Or they've seen something, or they Googled something, whatever. But they get to ask you those questions, and then you also give them an opportunity to go ahead and let them know that you have an entire assortment of products that help them maintain it. You don't have to give them an entire detail kit, but you can go ahead and have a pre-package of an aftercare. And, and that's one of those things. Again, you can go back and you can go ahead and put it into the price, or you can make it a secondary sale. And which to me, I like that better because it's that secondary touch point, right? It's your opportunity to answer any questions that they might have. And it's an opportunity if something was missed, you can take care of it.
And we do, we give our installers a nice discount on cases of products so they can do exactly what you said and build out some maintenance kits. I know some of the guys like Dustin, he'll build it into the price of his job. So they're just
Mhm.
going to go home with that. I think that's probably the best idea because you're not trying to nickel and dime them out of anything else. And then they feel like they're bonused at the end of it and they didn't even know that was coming, which is just going to give them a warm, fuzzy feeling too. And they're taking home the products from the company that they got the ceramic coating from, and that's going to be the best way to take care of that car. So I mean that's a win-win-win across the darn board. And for you guys out there who are detailers, you know, get put your own sticker on a bucket and make that, put the products into a little bucket. A 3-gallon bucket is perfect for cleaning these cars. And you can put your own sticker on there. So now not only are they seeing Owner's Pride's name, but they're going to see your company and it's going to associate with every time they clean that car. And if something's wrong with that car, you're first and foremost on their mind to get something fixed again.
Sure.
So anybody out there who is an Owner's Pride installer, at least at a minimum, if you are not doing it yet, order the products that you want to take care of the car with. For me, I'm gonna have some either slick or ceramic detailer and some eco wash, and that is how I take care of all of my cars. So whatever preference you have, if you like the ceramic plus the best, if you like the slick the best, if whatever you're gonna believe in that, get that. Like I said, you can build that right into the package. It's gonna be very, 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 very good. So the actionable
And they're
item.
going to want to take care of it. They really are. They're going to definitely want to take care of the vehicle. And especially after spending the kind of money that they spend to have a ceramic coating put on. And they're going to actually be thankful, that you're taking the time with them to explain how to use those products and how they benefit them and how, honestly, ceramic coatings, like anything else, it requires maintenance.
It really does. And then again, this is a perfect time to make sure that you're getting those reviews, that you're asking for the reviews. You're asking them to, hey, if you put a picture up on social media, please tag me, um, because you want to get credit for that too, and you want to see it. So these are just some of the things for a customer journey that I think that a lot of us, we get so in the weeds or so close to it that we can't see the big picture of the entire journey. And probably we miss a lot of these points. And they're not very hard to do. But doing these will set your business far above everybody else because you're taking care of this customer in a way that nobody else is.
So,
All right. So there you have it. I really, really like this subject a lot. Because I just see so many cool actionable items. So let's jump into the thread over here and see what some people said to us. We got Michael Sperdow. He says, hello, good afternoon, fall, spring. That was back when we were talking about the snow. He's up in
yep.
the, I think in Wisconsin or Minnesota, up in that part of the world too. So he probably got it too. Drew Carter, happy spring, been busy one. Double header doing two at the same property. That's always good when you can combine cars
Yep.
there. Albert, I talked to him today. That's a really
Oh,
nice,
did you?
yeah, yeah, super nice guy. He
Yeah.
says, all the guys are on salary. The weather doesn't matter. Oof, but that profitability in your hourly going out sure does. Bad weather for customer cancellations, incentive for them to convert to maintenance clients. That's something that he's doing really good with, as we were talking today, with his maintenance clients. The weather doesn't matter because
Hmm.
they're going to have their vehicle detailed again. Anyways, my buddy Shant from the San Diego Gulls game says hi. Hey Shant, how are you doing, buddy? Paulo, the hardest working man in the business, says great advice. Drew Carter. He's doing these maintenance kits. I give out a free
Nice.
mixed bottle of ready to use. Dustin does this too. We don't have ready to use anymore, but you guys are more than welcome to make your own Eco Wash ready to use. A little dabble to you, like the old Brill cream. Put your own label on it if you want. There you go. That's the best way for them to take some bird poop off the car in that first week or two, especially when
Yeah.
that coating's curing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we've done that too there at the shop, and it makes perfect sense. We've also done it when we've known it's not going to be very good, or if it's very buggy out. That's the other thing. They just got the coating, they're leaving towards, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. The bugs are thick. That's something that you can actually send with them so that when they get home, they can easily take them off using a little eco wash. And normally we would also provide a towel, a towel that we know that is a high pile towel that's not going to scratch it up.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Really good idea. So here's what's funny. We're right at an hour and 36 seconds, and we were like, do we think we'll have enough for an hour? And by golly, right on the freaking nose of an hour. Pretty
On the
cool.
button.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, guys. So until next week, we're going to jump out of here. If anybody's interested in becoming an Owner's Pride authorized installer, go to ownerspride.com. Click on Become an Installer. By God, we're going to try to call you within the first 10 minutes because we want to give you the ultimate customer experience also. And if you are a consumer and you're looking to get your car done by one of the best detailers in the world, you go to ownerspride.com, click on Find an Installer. It's going to bring up a map. You can use your zip code or your address. It'll show you who's close to you. And every one of these detailers that's in the Owners Pride network is vetted, proven themselves, and run exceptional businesses.
Yeah, and I think too, they also have us, as far as accessibility. And I think the customer service that we provide in that way, it trickles down, right? It just trickles down to their customers.
Yep, yep, yep. All right. Join us again next week because we'll be here every Thursday dropping some great ideas for you to grow your business with Owner's Pride. Damon, you got anything else?
I'm good. Thanks everybody for watching.
Thank you so much, and you know what to do. Stay glossy.